We begin with Nancy Cordes and President Trump's return from Davos. Nancy, great to have you at the table. Thanks so much. I want to play for you sound from the president in Davos about Russia. Please run that.
Meeting with Russia that'll take place tomorrow. They're going to be meeting with President Putin. I had a very good meeting with President Zelenskyy. Everybody wants to have the war end.
Now I want to play you sound, Nancy, from President Zelenskyy from today after his meeting with President Trump.
I think this like last mile, which is very difficult, which during any dialogue with any president, I have to defend the interests of my country. That's why the dialogue is, maybe it's not simple, but today it was positive.
Nancy, parse those two statements.
Basically, what the president of Ukraine is saying is that this is the time that the Russians need to finally lay their cards on the table, that all this happy talk, that they're open to peace and it just has to be the right kind of a deal. You know, now he's saying it's time for them to actually come to the table. And it sounds like that is what is supposed to happen. He announced, not President Trump, President Zelenskyy announced that there are going to be these trilateral talks for the first time since the war started 4 years ago in the UAE starting Friday, continuing on Saturday. Technical talks, which means you're not going to see Zelenskyy there and Putin there and President Trump there, but that their emissaries are going to be there to meet for the first time, all sitting around one table to try to hash out the finer points of some kind of peace agreement.
And for the benefit of our audience, you know this as well as I do, Nancy, technical talks sound eye-glazing. They are not.
No.
They are where deals get done. And if you don't get those things laid down on a table with technocrats, the big honchos can't make a deal.
One big technical question: what happens to territory that Russia has seized over the past 3.5, 4 years? So these are really important things that need to be hashed out. And it's going to give us a chance to see for the first time if Russia really is willing to make some concessions.
And is it your impression, Nancy, that that's why Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner just landed in Moscow?
Definitely a piece of the puzzle. They will have to convince Vladimir Putin that now is the time to come to the table. And, you know, we've heard about talks before. You remember it was months ago that President Trump said that he was going to have a summit with Putin, with Zelenskyy. So even though Zelenskyy is saying that these talks are going to start in the UAE tomorrow, until the Russians are saying it, the Americans are saying it, I'd say all of this is still a little tentative.
Very quickly, Nancy, the Board of Peace, a little bit of fanfare at Davos on that, but a lot of those nations you might think might want to join in, opting out at least now. The United Kingdom, Norway, Sweden, France, Canada, Ukraine, China, the EU.
A lot of parliamentary democracies on that list.
Are not in.
With leaders who are saying, we want to help Gaza, we want to be involved. We need to run the charter of this entirely new international organization past our parliaments and get it ratified first before we can join. And they're going even further than that. Italy's prime minister, for example, said she thinks that parts of this charter may violate Italy's constitution. So this has all been put together very hastily. Still a lot of questions on the parts of many of our allies.
Always breaking it down for us. Nancy Cordes, thank you so much.